A Gutav Shavua Tov. We're here with the in the Dvar Malchus shir, the weekly Dvar Malchus shir, and we're beginning a brand new parsha. We had Siyum last week. The this week we have a double parsha in the Dvar Malchus. It's Tazria and Metzora, the parshias of Tazria and Metzora, according to the order that we have been keeping. From the beginning of the study of the Dvar Malchus. It's not the weekly parsha. This week's parsha, as we know, is the parsha of Toldos, the birth of Yaakov Avinu, the continuation of Yitzchak Avinu, the twins Yaakov and Esav ha'amurim b'parsha. Esav actually had it in his pocket. He was the firstborn. He could have had everything made for him, and he decided to pass. Unfortunately, not only to pass, but to totally discontinue his connection with Yiddishkeit, and from this we see that even the most distant. It says that Esav and the children of Esav, many of them returned to Judaism. We see great Gerim, great converts, Rav Meir, Baal HaNes, and Onkelos, the great commentary on the Torah, Shmaya v'Avtalyon, the great Talmudic scholars. They're all children from Esav. So he actually returned. His children returned to Judaism, and it says that he will return also with the revelation of the Rebbe Shlitah Melech HaMashiach and the Geula of Shleima V'Amitis. Nevertheless, Tazria Mitzvah in the hard copy, we find ourselves on page 114, and in the PDF file we find ourselves on page 2. And obviously, we're beginning from the beginning of the Sicha. Ois Aleph, letter Aleph. Tazria Metzera, Misichos Shabbos Parshas Tazria Metzera, from the Sichos of the Shabbos of the portions of Tazria Metzera, Vav Iyar, the 6th of Iyar, Hatinose, the year 5751. And the Rebbe says as follows. In continuation to that which has been spoken about and stressed very much recently, in the recent time, mamish, literally, al dvar hatzerich b'fuloso shel kol echad ve'echad, in regard to the need of the action of each and every individual, mi Yisrael, from the Jewish nation, lasis kol atolei boy, to do everything that is dependent upon him, lehovius Mashiach Tzidkenu, to bring our righteous Mashiach b'foel mamish, in literally in actuality, teichef u'miyad mamish, and immediately in actuality. Kevan should be amenu elem mamish, since in our days, literally, im siyumei shel chodesh Nisan, the hayoisei shnas arenu niflois, with the culmination of the month of Nisan, of the year, it will surely be a year I will show them wonders. Kolu kol hakitzin, all the ends have come to their end. In other words, all the ends that have been stated in regard to the arrival of Mashiach, they have also come to their end. Ketz hayomim veketz hayomin, the end of days and the end of the end of the Golus, kipshute mamish, in simplicity, and certainly immediately our righteous Mashiach will arrive. And each and every individual will point with their finger and say, behold, this our righteous Moshiach has arrived. Shekfarba, that he already has arrived. Bilshon Ovar, in the past tense, berega shalifnei rega zeh, a moment before this moment. This is, by the way, when the Rebbe was asked in regard to the fact that he's talking about the coming of Mashiach, and that Mashiach is already here, but he hasn't been revealed. So someone asked the Rebbe, so when is Mashiach going to be revealed already? And the Rebbe stopped a moment and looked at the person, and he said, the moment that just passed was the moment that Mashiach was supposed to be revealed. In other words, every moment that passes was the moment that Mashiach was supposed to be revealed. And this is something that we have to take under our consideration. Every moment of the day. Yesh levar hadgoshas inyan hageula. The Rebbe says that we need to explain the stressing of the concept of redemption, ufulas kol echad ve'echad miYisrael, and the action of each and every individual of the Jewish nation. In regard to the bringing of the redemption, specifically addressing this Shabbos. This Shabbos, the Rebbe is talking about then, the Shabbos of that the portions Tazria and Metzera were read. The first and foremost, the concepts of Torah that are connected with this Shabbos, Holy Shabbos, the Parashas Shavua, in the portion of the week that is read, including the portion that is going to be commenced to be read in the in the service of Mincha, in the afternoon service. And also this is the time of the year then between Pesach and Shavuos, that every Shabbos we have the custom of studying a chapter from Pirkei Avos of the ethics of the fathers. So the Rebbe says, "V'chein b'Pirkei Avos the Yom HaShabbos Kodesh." Also in the chapter of the ethics of the fathers that is connected with this particular holy Shabbos. Zeh. And also in the contents of the time, this is in regard to the month in general, and also in regard to the days of the counting of the Omer. We said we're between Pesach and Shavuos is also the time that we count the Omer. And the Rebbe says this connection with the month, the day of the month, and the counting of the Omer also has to be clarified. Kiddulekoman, as will be clarified in the continuation of the Farbrengen. Base, Beparshas Shavua, in the portion of the week Tazria Matzera, Mudgash B'Yeser Inyan HaGeula. The concept of Geula, redemption, is very much stressed. Tazria, the portion Tazria, Isha Ki Tazria V'Yolda Zochar, a woman that will be impregnated and she will give birth, and who will give birth to a male, Kayadua, as is known, Shlitah, that a birth, the Yolda, she gave birth, this hints to the redemption. Like it states, Yolda Tziones Bonea, Zion has given birth to her sons. That's a verse in the Navi Yeshayahu, the prophet Isaiah. And the giving birth to a male hints to the strength and the assertiveness, which is Zachar, a male, the Geula Hamitis Vashlema, of the true and the complete redemption. Geula Nitzchis, a eternal redemption, she'ein acharei golus, that there is no exile after it. Shir chodosh lashon zachar, a new song in the masculine form. Al yedei Mashiach tzidkenu, through our righteous Mashiach, hainu sheviyolda zachar. In other words, that the words, and she gave birth to a male. Remez al ledas isgolus, hints to the birth and the revelation, Nishmos Moshiach, of the soul of Moshiach, Shehimi Madrega Yesel Yena, which is from the higher level of levels, me'alma the dechura, from the world of males. There's a spiritual world. In the spiritual worlds, there's the masculine world, and there's the feminine world. And as we see it during the time of exile, the masculine world is higher than the feminine world. When Moshiach comes, immediately now the Rebbe is going to reveal himself. We'll see that there is the virtue of the feminine upon the masculine, and therefore it says that the feminine will be higher. The revealed level of the feminine will be on a revealed level higher than the masculine in the Geula, in the redemption. And in more detail, Isha Kisazriya, a woman that will be impregnated. This relates to the general service of the congregation of Israel. Isha, which is called Isha, a woman, Bisman Agolos, during the time of the exile. Shenim Shelo Lizriya, that the service of the Jewish nation during the time of Golus is paraphrased, or is compared to Zriya, to sowing, to planting seeds, Tazriya, and that's the name of the parsha. And this is exactly what the parsha says. The woman will be planting a seed, or she will be impregnated by the seed of her husband. Like it states, Uzra'atiha li ba'aretz, and I will plant her for me in the land. Haboim yashresh yankiv gemer, and those that come, they will set root from the children of Jacob. And through the sowing, through the planting of seeds, the ma'aseinu v'avodaseinu kol zman meshech hagolos, of our actions and our service during the entire period of exile, na'ases techef u'miyad, we have immediately and literally leholoi hefsek klal, with no protrusion of time in the middle, hatzmicha, we have the growth. Yotzitz uforach Yisrael, there will be the sapling and that will have flowers, and this is the Jewish nation. And this also relates to, like we said before, the true and the complete redemption. Through our righteous Moshiach, of which this Geula will have no Golus, no exile after it. V'yolda Zohar, as it's understood from the masculine form of that she will give birth to a baby boy, a male. U'mitzera, and also the portion of Mitzera, K'de'isa b'Gemara, like it's brought in the Talmud. Mash Moishel Moshiach, what is the name of Moshiach? And this is brought in the tractate of Sanhedrin. What is the name? It's asked there, what is the name of Moshiach? And the answer that is given is Chivra Devei Rebbe Shmei. He is Metzera Shel Beis Rebbe. He is the leper of the house of Rebbe, Rabbi Yehuda Anossi, who also, as we know, comes from the seed of David HaMelech. Shneemar, as it states, Ochen Cholyenu hu nasa, behold, unfortunately, he has taken upon himself our sicknesses, u'machoivenu svolam, and our pains, he suffers. Va'anachnu chashavnuhu Nagua muke elikim umeune, and we thought he was a nagua, that he was a leper, that he had leprosy, muke, that he was struck by leprosy, Elokim umune, he's a leper of Hashem, and he is tortured because of the pain of the leprosy. Mai simone yisiv bene aniye. What are the signs? Mao simano yeshiv ben aniyim. What is the sign that we can distinctly know that this individual is Mashiach? Yasiv beinei aniyei. He sits amongst the poor. Mashiach sits amongst the poor. Soivle chaloim, that suffer sickness. Minugoim, those that are struck by leprosy. V'hunami gamken menuga, and he himself is also struck by leprosy. Dichsiv, as it states, v'hu mechilal mipshoenu, and he is struck. He is desecrated through our crimes. Uchsiv, and it states cholyenu hu nasa, that he bears our sicknesses. Where is this also? In the same place, in the Gemara that we were talking about in Sanhedrin. Okay, so now that we know who is Moshiach and where does he sit and what does he look at, what are the signs that we are distinctively supposed to look for in regard to being able to know who he is, Moshiach. And more in detail, the Rebbe explains, as the continuation of that which is written, in our parsha, this will be the instructions, that the laws of the leper, the day that he will purify himself from his leprosy. To the extent that we have the custom of reading this portion, we have the custom of calling this portion B'Shem Parshas Taira, with the name, the portion of Tahara, purification. In other words, there are sources that call this parsha not the parsha of Metzora, leprosy, but the portion of purification. Like it's brought in other places. And the Rebbe brings different places that it's brought. I believe it's also, from my memory, I don't see it over here, but in the Shlo, I believe or the Or HaChaim, or the Or HaChaim HaKodesh, I think, brings this concept. That leper, Metzora, is the name of Moshiach during the period of exile that we find ourselves in. That even though, as far as he himself, Moshiach, is concerned, he is at the peak of his completion, spiritually and materially, like it states, Yaskil Avdi Yorum Vinisa Vigova Me'ed, my servant will gain wisdom. Yorum, he will go up. Vinisa, and he will be raised. Vigova, and he will ascend very much. Mikol Mokem, nevertheless, Soivel v'choyev be'atzmei, he suffers and he has pain within himself. Tsar u'machoyvei hagolus, the pain and the suffering of the exile. Uv'yem tarosei, and on the day that he is purified, shenirpa nega hatzaras minatzarua, the day that the leprosy is healed from by the leper. Kayal ma'imodei matzove. This is in regard to the situation and state shel Moshiach, of Moshiach, Kishemizgale v'goyel es bnei Yisrael. When he reveals himself and he redeems the children of Israel. Bageula hamitis v'hashlema, in the true and the complete redemption. Yechi, and it should be techef umiyad mamish, it should be immediately now. Yechi Adonenu Moreinu v'Rabbeinu HaMelech HaMoshiach Chai v'Kayom Le'olam Voed. Amen.